Hello, hello. Hi, Emily.
Hello. We're
Welcome
back.
to welcome to another episode. Sorta bossy on the pod. I brought a sweater.
That you were gonna put on.
I was, but then I was like, why am I doing the thing I said I wasn't gonna do?
It's like you cannot help. I'm wearing the same shirt because we just press stop and press
You know
start.
why though? You know why this is important? It has
clips.
nothing to do with the audience.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it's honestly more for when I'm trying to review clips for what is going to go on the social media. I can't tell which episode I'm looking at or if it's all the same episode.
Right.
If
It's
we're
probably
not
me
wearing
not labeling them.
different.
Okay, well maybe put your sweater on.
I should wear a hat or something.
Tie it around your shoulders, like you're at the Masters.
I wish.
Right?
I wish I was at the Masters.
I know. We were talking about that yesterday with my dad. I was like, oh, I just want to go one time and I want to try that nasty pimento cheese sandwich. They sell for $3.
Okay, this is like I feel like there's like a better way to do this. This is not like
I think you have to go like a little bit off. There you go. A little bit more off there.
It's like too chunky.
Oh. Well, don't tie it then. Oh my god, this is embarrassing for us, but it's okay.
This is for me. So I have a question.
Okay.
There you go. So what I was thinking about yesterday is, so Michael, my partner, plans me like this big surprise party. He's never going to listen to the pod, so it's fine that I talk about this. Okay. And it was my 40th, so that's a little different. Like his birthday is next month, and I'm not trying to like plan him a big party, but I would like to do something special for his birthday.
Yeah.
Last year I took him on a golf trip, and that's an option. Like, but I don't want to do the same thing.
Right.
And so one of the things that I really want to figure out how to do, not the Masters because that just passed, but that would have been cool. Is Michael Jordan has a golf course in the Palm Beach area, Jupiter.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like extremely exclusive.
Okay.
And you can't go unless you're like a member or know a member.
Right.
And so I need help. Like, who is a member or knows a member of this golf course and can help me get a tee time?
I believe that would not Michael know people who are members at this golf course?
So yes, but how am I going to ask him to help me get his birthday present? Like, so like, I know I'm not going to say names because I don't want to get people,
Yeah. I feel like there's some people you could call.
You know people?
No, I don't, but I feel like I know people that you have met who you
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't know some of their phone numbers. But maybe I'm going to message them. Like, he has their phone numbers. Yeah, I'm going to figure this out. But if anybody here has a contact, let a girl know. It's called the
Perfect. Okay. You heard it here first.
My stepmom. I messaged my stepmom because she lives down there and she walks, like she's a dog nanny for like a lot of celebrity people down there. And so I was like, if you know anybody, please ask. So she asked this baseball player that she knows, but I think he's too young. He's like in the minors still. I'm like, that's not. She doesn't understand. So this is something that I learned by being with a baseball player. And maybe people who are really into baseball understand this, but I'm like, when you get drafted, you're getting drafted by a team, but you're getting drafted by like their organization. You're not getting drafted into the major leagues usually. Like there's been like 22 high school kids that have gone like straight from high school to the majors. And that's very rare. But most of the time they spend a long time working through the minor league system. Most of them never make it to the majors. And then you're lucky if you eventually get a call up, you know? Yeah. She didn't really understand that. I was like, she's like,
she just thought like,
does Michael know him? And I'm like, and then I looked him up and I'm like, this kid, well, first of all, he's much younger than Michael. So no, I don't think he knows him. But number two, he's still in the minors. Like he's not actually on a major league team. He hasn't been called up yet. And she was like,
right. Oh, I was like, what a sweetheart.
So I know.
Yeah. It's like, We watched somebody who like got called up for played their first game. They're 31. First game in the majors, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
I can't really talk about baseball because the Toronto Blue Jays are really letting me down. But it's okay. It's just like it's a long season, but like it's not going well. And the entire team is on the IL. So we're just not having a good start to the year.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I know. And Rose didn't win the Masters. I was really rooting for him. So it was just like not a good sports weekend for me.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, the Masters was this past weekend.
Yeah.
Who knows when this is going live, but
this is a sports podcast.
I was going to say, if we're going to be a sports commentating podcast, we got to like publish it right after.
Well, maybe I will. Maybe I'll publish this one tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe I'll move it around. I won't because I already wrote things. So this is going to be next week probably. So
old
sorry,
news,
everyone.
Old news. If you didn't
know. But
know,
these are my thoughts.
Rory won back to back. So I wasn't sad about that. Yes, it would have been nice to see Rose win, but yeah. I'm not sad about the back to back. And
no.
You know, is he the next Tiger Woods? We'll see.
Rory? I think that ship has sailed for him to be the next Tiger Woods. Like,
I know.
There's no such thing as the next Tiger Woods.
Can he stop?
He's a one and only.
He is a one and only, but he's really making me mad lately.
Oh, I can't. I actually can't stand him anymore. But like, he's a one and only. You know.
I know. But why do these one and onlys do this to themselves? Like,
why?
Is it because they were the one and only? Like,
and they just have this like untouchable, like,
I'm invincible. So I can I'm invincible, and I can even do illicit drugs or drink or whatever.
I'm above the law and do whatever I want.
Or not even above the law, but maybe he just thinks that like his body is so, you know, capable of whatever that he would be able to drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you already did this. We've already been through this. So
we've been through this. And it's just like, it's not just your safety. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's not just about you.
Not just about you. You have
genuinely think that you are truly invincible and that wouldn't happen to you. But you can't possibly think that, right? After it's already happened to you.
I mean, you would hope. I'm like, if I was Tiger Woods, I would just have a driver. Like, he's so rich.
Right. Like, and I heard something of like, oh, it's like a privacy thing. Like, same thing with like Justin Timberlake, like a privacy thing. They don't want people put up a privacy screen in your car. You can afford to build a custom car with a privacy screen that they won't be able to hear you if it's a concern of whatever you're talking about in the car. Like,
oh my God. Do you think Taylor Swift has ever driven a car in the last 10 years? No, she has a driver.
Yeah.
And
so she lives in New York. She's not driving.
No, and she has people who drive her around.
She also understands the value of her time. And it's
right.
Driving time is like, I have to pay attention. I can't be looking at my phone and answering emails or like really focused on a call if I'm on a conference call or something. Like, she understands that like she's probably going from event to event, you know, recording studio to recording studio, whatever. Yeah. She has things that she has to go to. And the time where she can probably get her administrative type of work done or business deal work done is in the car.
Or like catch up with someone, like have a call, but like in the car. Yeah. Tiger Woods.
You don't want to be driving when you have to do that. Like, cause then you have to focus, especially if you're driving like in New York or something, like,
right.
You know, just have a driver and then you can get your shit done. Right. You know how much shit I can get done when I have a driver?
Oh my God. For all the driving you have to do. Could you imagine? You should hire a driver.
I probably should because, you know, when I'm with Michael, like he drives, I'm a passenger princess, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But when I'm doing like the school pickup and drop off, I have thought about that. Not hiring a driver, although that is now on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how do I make enough money that we just hire a driver? Because I'm like, damn, some days I'm in the car, depending on traffic, some days I'm in the car for 3+ hours. I'm like, I could have, and I can't, I was like, I was thinking about this recently. I was like, I got to figure out a way to like take a work call or like record something or do something with this time when the kids are not in the car, you know, like on my way there, like, or my way back once I've dropped them off, like it is actually killing me slowly and softly that like that time just feels wasted. Most of the time I will at this point like listen to a podcast or like listen to a
Some
mastermind
books.
call. Listening to something where I'm learning at least. But there's got to be a more productive use of my time during this driving.
But also, like, not every moment of your life has to be productive. Like, you can just take that time.
I know, but when it's hours a day,
I guess it's like a lot of days. Yeah, I don't have this problem because I never go anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Like, especially by myself.
I didn't used to either. And so I was like, normally I would just listen to a podcast and whatever. We're in the car for 20, 30 minutes. Now, like, sometimes 3 hours. And that's like, sometimes even more if like traffic's bad. So in a day. And that's like, I'm an efficient person. I don't even like sitting that long. Like, it really drives me crazy. But next year, like, I'll have this one more year, and then both my kids will be at a closer school to me. So it'll be way different, but still it's going to be like this for the next year. So I'm like, all right, my brain is like, all right, what do we do for next year then to make this time more productive?
Okay. Well, I will put my thinking cap on as well and see what I can come up with.
Like, do I record an audio only podcast on my way?
Bonus episode
is audio only, and it's because Adrienne's in the car. Or do I set up just a thing, like my phone, and you're just watching me, like I'm just talking, but it's not this because I'm in the car. But if you need a video, it's just me rambling in the car, Perfect.
Sounds great.
Also, like, are you okay over there? Is that
I just dropped my charger. My charger just fell out of the wall, but it's okay.
Like, I feel like what are the influencers doing with their cameras when they're in their cars or when they're doing like face to camera like videos? Are they using?
No, they have a light.
A light?
Yeah, they have like the light thing
on here.
Yeah,
but they're using the front camera.
No, I think a lot of them use the back camera.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, do they turn it around because their quality is so much better than mine? But
I think they're using the back camera.
They're using the back camera and they're just not seeing themselves. They just have it set up to where they know that's the right position.
Yeah.
I'm such an amateur hour. I'm like really trying to get better and really trying to figure this out. But I'm like, my front camera cannot be the same front camera that they're using. Like, they must not be using that front camera.
Yeah. No, I think
it looks like a potato camera.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Back camera.
All right. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm sure people
Did everyone know that this is just a life update podcast or
just rambling? Sort of bossy rambles.
Okay.
Maybe when we have a weekly when we drop 5 days a week, we will have one episode that's just sort of bossy rambles. Maybe.
Yeah, or just every morning is like less rambles because we don't have a whole week full of rambles to talk through. And it's just like 5 minutes of rambling instead of 13.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we should get in. Yeah. Get into it.
All right, here's the question. If revenue is down and you need to lay off or fire if an employee or not renew the contract of someone if they're a contractor, how do you reabsorb their role and then hopefully ramp things up to be able to afford them again? Number one, I love this question because it's real, it's vulnerable, it's transparent, it's reality. That if you haven't had a dip in your business, you just haven't been in business long enough. So
exactly,
it's realistic, right? Like, and I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how when they're working with investors, one of the investors that they were thinking of working with or whatever was asking them, like, have you ever had a dip? And they were like, because I don't invest in people who have never had a dip. Because if you've never had the dip, when you lose everything and then you have to rebuild, you're going to lose your mind if you've never done that before. And I don't want to work with someone who's never handled that before, right? I don't want to have to be the person like telling you it's going to be okay. Like, because if I'm investing in you, I need to know that you can already handle that. And I thought that was a really like, I don't know, like it's almost inspiring story, like that an investor is looking for someone not who's always had successes, but who has
weathered the storm,
been in it long enough, and weathered the failures, because like success and failure are one and the same. Like if you're gonna have both, right? And your character and your potential for an investor is being judged more on your ability to be resilient and to work through something, because an investor is taking a risk on you, because most things are not successful, right? When it comes to where investors put their money, like they're taking a huge risk and they're really betting on that person. And so it's like, if you haven't had a dip before, either you're lying, or you just haven't been around long enough, or you quit when you had the dip and, did something different.
Yeah.
So just to know, if you're going through a dip, it's okay, right? And it's really going to be more about how you weather this storm. And so I think this is a really important, real question for people. Yeah. Like for people to understand that, like, a lot of business owners are having these conversations, not just now, but in the past, and they will in the future, right? This is something that is going to happen again and again and again, whether it's because of the economy at large, or just because of something that's happening in your industry, or something that happened in your personal life. It doesn't really matter, right? Like sometimes there are going to be dips, there are going to be contractions, and then there are going to be, what's the opposite of contraction?
Expansions,
right? So it's like contraction, expansion. You have to know how to do both. So if revenue is down and you need to lay off or fire someone, I think it's really important to think about the current team and the landscape that you have, and the current needs and future needs of the business, right? Sometimes you also go through this situation. We have gone through this situation when the needs of the business are changing or have changed. And so someone you love or appreciate, or they were valuable in terms of their skill set in the past, is no longer going to be necessary as you change the model of the business, or the products in the business, or whatever it might be. And so that's unfortunate, but that's like probably more of a situation where you don't necessarily need to reabsorb everything, but you might still need to reabsorb some things, And so I think it's really important to think about, where is the direction or the future of the business going, and what are our needs there? And what does our team currently have now to offer, and which skill sets and strengths line up the best and align best for where we're going? And is there anyone that it feels like it doesn't make sense to move them forward with us, right? And I think this is one of the most ruthless, hardest parts of running a business, and loving your team members and being personal with your team members, is like, I've been in situations where I'm like, I want to keep this person just because I like them, but that doesn't really make me a good business owner though, right? Like if I'm coming from a business decision, we really should lay this person off or let this person go because of the direction we're going. And sometimes you're trying to like square peg round hole just because you like them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the revenue dip makes it a little bit easier, because it's like, not that it's easy, you're going through a financially stressful situation, but easier because you're like, well, we can't afford to keep them. So like, this is what we have to, it makes you actually make the business decision, when a lot of times I've been in situations where I held on to someone way too long because I wasn't willing to make the business decision that needed to be made long before, because it wasn't financially stressful at the time, right? It was like, oh, but we can keep them, so let's try to figure it out.
Make it work.
Make it work. Let's see if we can, give them these other things or whatever. And so I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, like, because you often will say, like, if I was coaching a client in this situation, this is what I would tell them to do, right?
Right.
So like, I think it's important to look at your own business like that, of like, if someone else was coming to you for advice, like, would you tell them to let this person go? Would you tell them to like move in this direction? Would you tell them that actually you don't need that person to do this thing anymore? Right.
Yeah.
Because then it just becomes way less emotional and much more logical and business driven. And sometimes we're too attached to the people to see that clearly, or to make the decision clearly. We're like, oh, but when it comes to like, okay, what if you were if this was someone else's business, is it really cut and dry for you? And if not, figure that out. And then, so like, once you've decided like, okay, here's the things that the business needs moving forward, maybe we're going to let these 1, 2, whoever people go.
Yeah.
Because they're like the least essential, right, for the future of the business.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like doing when we do like a time tracking, which again, I think that a time tracking is appropriate in this situation, to really understand what is on everybody's plates, what's on your plate, not just to know what do we need to reabsorb, but also what capacity do people have, right? Like how much capacity do people have on their current plates to even reabsorb things from someone else's role? And then you want to do what we would call like a 4T analysis here, right? You're going to need to trash things on everybody's plates, right? From the role that's being laid off, there are things that we're just not going to do anymore because it's just not valuable to the business. It's not essential in the new structure, right? It's the least valuable, or sometimes it's really hard to make these decisions. Oh, but everything's really important. What is the least valuable of all these things then? Because we're in a, important, like, got to make decisions. We can't do everything. We're in a limited resource situation. The resources aren't unlimited.
Yeah.
So looking through and going, what do we trash? Not just on that person's plate, but also on ours, so that we can free up more capacity for ourselves and anyone who is remaining on the team, right? Because if I can free up some of their capacity, potentially they can absorb some of the responsibilities that are critical or priority for the future of the business, right? Same thing with trim. That's the second T. What can we trim? Which means, okay, we're still going to do it, but we might do less of it, or we might practice putting more restraints and constraints around it so that we do less of it or spend less time on it, which is again going to help you like free up some of your time. And then the third T is what we call transfer. That's really delegating things. This is where you're going to reabsorb things into other people's roles. This is again, like a prioritization project, right? Because not everything is going to get to be reabsorbed. Some things nowadays like could be reabsorbed by AI. And so where could we get more efficient with some of the things we're either doing or that this person was doing, so that yes, it's still going to get done, but it's not actually even going to get done by one of our humans. Maybe it's going to get done by an AI agent or a tool or an automated system of some sort. And so I think that's an available option right now, which maybe wasn't 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. It's like, there's a lot more opportunity for you to continue doing some of the things, but just being much more efficient with how you do those things. And then I'm going to let you speak to other reabsorption of like tasks, because we just did this recently and like we had to reabsorb role and we were like identifying who could really do what. And that was like aligning strengths, but also aligning capacities. Yeah. And everyone on the team kind of has to be understanding and be on board that like their role is going to shift and they're going to have to learn something new potentially. And sometimes that sucks for people. They could be excited about it, but it's also like, there's the pressure might be on because this other person already knew how to do it. They were doing it well. And now I'm going to have to learn how to do it. And that's like not the most, easy scenario for everyone.
Yeah, I think sometimes these situations are like, it's all about attitude for one, like who's the outlook that you have when it comes to reabsorption. I think especially when you're having conversations around having to let someone go due to a revenue dip, it's like the remaining team, we have to keep the morale up. So it's like, how can we keep this exciting? And so having conversations around like, what do you like doing? What would you like to learn more about? Or what did you feel like maybe you couldn't explore more because we already had a person doing that, right? Mm-hmm. And as much as we want redundancies, we also, everyone kind of has their lane on really small, lean teams, right? Yeah. So I think that was a big one. I think it was really surprising, like who was excited to take on what and what could be certain people on the team were able to take on things that I was not expecting them to, which was a great surprise. So that was like really promising. I had to learn a lot of like a new tool, and it was a little bit overwhelming at first. And so I think and it was a little bit frustrating, just because it was not as like, it's hard for me to learn those things. So I think giving the team members the space to be frustrated when they're learning, to understand like it's not, doesn't mean they're not willing to learn or they're not going to learn. But if you've had to let someone go and someone has to pick up a critical task and maybe it's not in their highest strengths, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to learn it. That's, and that's fine. We just need to give people the space and not like compound that frustration by being like, oh, but you need to learn it faster. That was one thing I like, okay, well, you need to be an expert at it next week. It's like, well, that's not going to happen because the person we let go has been working on this tool autonomously for years. And I don't really know everything that they've learned because they never had to teach me, right? So I think it's all about giving grace and space for people to absorb. Once you've figured out like who has time, what do we need to keep, all that, then understanding like what we need the grace and space to actually learn these things and absorb them, and also be able to come back and be like, hey, we were doing this, like we're not going to keep doing that anymore.
And I think that's the key to like, okay, how do you reabsorb their role and then hopefully ramp things back up to either be able to afford them again or someone else again, so that, again, we can rebalance who needs to be doing what, is like really making sure you're relentless with your no's or your trashing of like, all right, we're just not going to do this. And that means we might have to figure out a simpler way to get the same result or to communicate with a client. Like maybe we're not going to have the fanciest tech tool as we used to, but like that's not worth anybody's time on our team right now. And so we need to, in the short term, figure out a simplified version of how we do that, or what we do or what we don't do, but still make the experience what it needs to be. And just be really like mindful of what you reabsorb onto your own plate. Like if you're the only like I think this also depends if like you still have other team members, or if you're reabsorbing everything as the business owner and now everything's falling on your plate. Like I think you have to be, if that does happen, like you have to still be doing all of these things of what can I just really not do anymore, right? Because you have to be mindful of how do I grow this business again to get to the point where I'm not doing all these things and I am serving, more customers at this higher level. And so being really clear, I think it's almost like cleaning the slate. Like give yourself a white piece of paper, nothing on it. Like don't even think about the current business, but think about like, what would I do if this didn't exist? Because it's often much easier to go from 0 to 1 than it is to go from like 10 to 1. Right? Yeah. Like when you have to like take everything away, it's much harder to get to 1. It's like when you're starting with clean slate, it's easier to think more clearly about what I would actually do with my time. And it's hard right now because you built something and now you have to subtract from that thing to figure out, and you're maybe holding on to commitments you've made or obligations that you have or things that you think you need
identities you hold,
things you think you need to do just because you've always done them, or like, identities in the marketplace that people hold of you that you're like, if this goes away or if I stop doing this, then what are they going to think of me? That's going to make me look even less successful. And right now I need to look more successful. And it's like, no, right? Like if you were building from 0 and trying to get to 1, what would be the top priorities? And you really need to focus on that, right? Because if regardless of how many people you have had or currently have to take away, I think this is an important exercise for everyone in everyone's roles. It's like, okay, we're so attached to what we used to do, but we can't be, because that's not who we are anymore, right? And going from blank slate is much easier to be truthful with yourself about like, okay, I probably wouldn't do any of these 5 things, but I just feel like I have to because we've done them for the past 5 years or whatever. It's like, okay, well, that's not saying we're never going to get back to them, but let's put those on pause and just do these 3 things every single day to grow and help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the shortest version of this that I could give you. I feel like as we've talked about this, it's become like pretty obvious that I maybe need to do a deeper episode into our situation, like because we had a contraction when I ended my business partnership, right? Like that, I knew that that was going to be possible, that that was going to be a transition that we would have to make. And I think that there are probably specifics around that might be helpful for people to understand of like, we're not where we used to be when we were at the peak of Run Like Clockwork, right? And it's like, oh, we're building a whole new brand. Like we're building, and I was, I don't know if I should say this for a whole new episode, but it's like, if I were to build from scratch, I wouldn't have, if I was starting from zero, which we were, I wouldn't have this full team, you know, like that wouldn't have been a smart business move. But because I was trying to really transition and I already had team members over here, we're trying to do our best of like transitioning and bringing everybody. And that's what you were saying of like, you know, having conversations with people as you're contracting. They're also scared that you're going to contract them along with it, you know? Yeah. And so it's like just the reality of being a business owner is not always like butterflies, roses, rainbows. Even when you've had really big years, really big months, like the dips are where you get to prove yourself, but also like we've had dips in the past. Like we're in a dip, but like we've had dips in the past too. Like this is not the first one we've ever experienced. Or for me, like I've had previous businesses as well. And like when I transitioned from my old like Adrienne Dorison consulting business, my first business, I was a 7-figure business owner at the time. And when I chose to enter my partnership with Mike, I had to let my team go because I had no money when I was making that transition. I had enough money to like last me about a year. Yeah. But I didn't have enough money to last me that year and pay my team members to sit around and wait for this book to come out. I was like, exactly. Well, and I didn't have the ability to take on new clients until the book came out because the new clients needed to be focused on the book. And so that was like a transitional period. I thankfully had, you know, cash reserves during that time because I was just in a good financial position from previously, but it was still a challenging transition to go back to doing a lot of things that I hadn't done in a long time in the business, right? Like I reabsorbed things like building sales pages, building landing pages. Like I used to not have to do any of that. And when then I started the new business, I'm like, well, here I am. I guess I'll be doing that, you know, until I hired you. Yeah. And then you helped me with some of that. And then we hired people to help us with some of that. And so it's like, you will get out of this dip. You just have to really focus on what are the things that are really going to grow the business. And don't get caught up in all the things that you've always done just because you've always done them. A version of your business always did those, but not the current version of your business, you know?
Yeah. And that's hard, I think, for a lot of people to accept.
Totally.
People are so binary. They're like, oh, I'm failing. You're not failing. Like, because this we don't live in the same world a year ago that we do now. So we can't measure ourselves against the same metrics, you know?
Right. Yeah. But there is a world in which you can grow again and hire these people or someone else, you know, because like when we've had to let people go, I also communicate like my goal, like if it was really just because of a financial dip or a change in direction, which both have happened to us over the years. Like at one point we had a salesperson and then like we weren't doing sales calls at all anymore. Like our business goal was to not do sales calls all the time. So guess what has to happen to the salesperson?
Even though they were...
Which sucks, you know?
Yeah.
But I had to make a really hard decision for the business to go, if I'm being honest, I love this person. I love what they do for the business, but we're trying to get away from that because it just wasn't how we wanted to continue to grow it, you know? Like if I continue to grow it, then I'm going to need another salesperson. And I don't want that business model, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like communicating with those people when you're doing the layoffs and stuff. Like my goal is that, you know, that you're so successful that maybe maybe you don't even ever want to come back to my team, but I would like to leave this relationship in a place where you're always welcome back when our business is in a position to support that, you know?
Yeah.
And so what can I do to support you as you transition out? And hopefully leaving that door open for when we are, you know, ramping back up, that hopefully I've done such a good job as a leader and our team has done such a good job as team members and peers and colleagues to culturally that maybe you would want to come back. But I also totally understand if you're like, your life has shifted and you're in something new and something better, and that's totally fine too. And so those conversations will be challenging. I think they're almost more challenging than when you have to fire someone for poor performance, because this person usually did nothing wrong. And it's just a transition of the business model or the business needs or a financial, you know, unfortunate financial situation. And it just sucks because you like this person. They were doing good work and you still got to do the hard thing. So just, you know, emotionally support yourself and prepare yourself for that, and be supportive of them as they transition out and as you hopefully ramp things back up. But I think the number one thing is just like, be really relentless with your time. Like, anything else that you would like to add?
I think it's just be, you know, like, be really creative and don't be attached to anything, and let go of the concept that you have to reabsorb.
Yeah. Like the other, I love that. Like, maybe you don't have to at all, right? And there's a lot of things that you probably don't have to at all. And I was thinking about this recently, is like, most innovation and creativity does not happen when we have unlimited resources. The best creation and innovation is going to happen when resources are limited and you have to get scrappy. And so I want you to, you know, yes, it's going to be hard to have these conversations or to let people go. But once you do that, my wish for you is that you feel this, you know, new sense of lightness and like creativity and energy to make it work with the limited resources that you have, because the limited resources that you have are going to help you go, well, if we only have this, this, and this, then what could we build with it? Right?
Yeah.
When you have unlimited resources, honestly, people get lazy and they overuse. That's what I saw in the corporate world all the time. Like, they had too many resources. And so then we would not value the efficiency that we were able to create. They were like, oh, you're only going to save $3 million a month. Like, let's not do it. I'm like, okay. But when that $3 million a month is life-changing to you, you better believe that you're going to figure it out. So I know that this is going to help you be more creative, be more efficient, figure things out, be more innovative, and probably build something that you would have never built had you had more resources to do it. So you would have coasted, you would have been lazy, and we don't want that for you. So enjoy your dip as much as you can, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye, everyone.